The air crackled with the static of countless conversations. The aroma of roasted nuts and cheap perfume hung heavy. Saturday at the Trafford Center, a symphony of consumerism. Shoppers bustled, laden with bags, their faces a mix of boredom and desire. A sudden hush fell near the fountain, an anomaly. People stopped, their gazes drawn to a point near the information kiosk. A child. He stood alone, small for his age, no more than 6, maybe 7. He wore clothes too large, a gray jumper swallowing his tiny frame. His hair, the color of wheat, fell over his eyes. He seemed lost, adrift in a sea of legs and shopping bags. Whispers rippled through the gathering crowd. Where did he come from? Is he lost? A woman, her face creased with concern, knelt before him. "Darling, are you all right? Where's your mummy?" The boy stared, his eyes the color of a stormy sky, holding an unnerving intensity. He shook his head slowly. "I don't know," he murmured, his voice barely audible above the murmur of the crowd. Security arrived, 2 burly men in high-visibility jackets. They questioned the onlookers, but no one had seen him before. He was a phantom, materializing out of thin air. "What's your name, son?" The security guard's voice was calm and reassuring, a practiced tone he had perfected over years of dealing with lost children. He knelt down to the boy's level, making sure to maintain eye contact, hoping to ease the child's evident distress. The security guard asked gently, his eyes softened as he noticed the boy's trembling hands and the tear stains on his cheeks. He knew that a gentle approach was crucial in moments like these. The boy hesitated, then shook his head. I don't remember." His voice was barely a whisper, filled with confusion and fear. The guard could see the boy's eyes darting around, searching for something familiar in the sea of strangers. The guard sighed. This was becoming a regular occurrence. Lost children, frantic parents. He had seen it all too often, the panic in a child's eyes, the desperation in a parent's voice. It was a part of the job he never got used to. He took the boy's hand. The small hand felt cold and fragile in his own, a stark reminder of the boy's vulnerability. He gave it a gentle squeeze, hoping to convey some sense of safety and comfort. "Right, let's get you to the information desk." He spoke with a reassuring tone, trying to mask his own concern. The information desk was a beacon of hope in situations like these, a place where lost children could be reunited with their frantic parents. "They'll call your parents over the tannoy," the guard explained, hoping the boy would understand and feel a bit more at ease. The public announcement system had reunited countless families, and he hoped it would work its magic once again. As they walked, the boy did something extraordinary. He stopped suddenly, causing the guard to halt as well. The boy's eyes, which had been filled with fear moments ago, now held a strange determination. He looked up at the guard and said, "Your name is Michael, but you prefer Mike." The words were spoken with such certainty that it sent a shiver down the guard's spine. "You have a daughter, Lily. She's 8 and loves to dance." Mike stopped, stunned. How could this boy know such personal details about him? His mind raced, trying to make sense of the situation. "You have a daughter, Lily. She's 8 and loves to dance." Mike stopped, stunned. He looked down at the boy, a chill running down his spine. The boy's eyes seemed to pierce through him, as if he could see into his very soul. He looked down at the boy, a chill running down his spine. How could he possibly know that? The question echoed in his mind, each repetition adding to his growing unease. How could he possibly know that? He had never seen this child before in his life. The boy's knowledge of his personal life was unsettling, to say the least. Mike felt a mix of fear and curiosity, wondering who this mysterious child was. He had never seen this child before in his life, yet the boy spoke with such familiarity, as if they had known each other for years. Mike couldn't shake the feeling that there was something extraordinary about this encounter, something that defied explanation. Word spread through the mall like wildfire. It was as if an invisible force carried the whispers from one end of the bustling shopping center to the other. People paused mid-step, their conversations halting as they turned their heads, trying to catch a glimpse of the source of the commotion. The air was thick with anticipation, a palpable tension that seemed to vibrate through the very walls of the mall. The lost boy, the one who knew things he shouldn't. He stood there, an enigmatic figure amidst the chaos, his eyes reflecting a wisdom far beyond his years. His presence was both unsettling and magnetic, drawing people in despite their better judgment. He was a mystery wrapped in a riddle, a puzzle that no one could quite piece together. People gathered around him, a mixture of fear and morbid curiosity on their faces. They whispered among themselves, speculating about the boy's origins and the source of his uncanny knowledge. Some believed he was a prodigy, others thought he might be a prophet, and a few even feared he was something more sinister. Yet, none could tear their eyes away. He looked at a young couple, their arms laden with baby clothes. They were blissfully unaware of the storm brewing around them, lost in their own world of expectant joy. The boy's gaze seemed to pierce through the layers of their happiness, reaching into the very core of their future. "Congratulations on the little one," he said, his voice quiet but clear. "It's a girl, you'll call her Amelia." The couple stared, open-mouthed. Their shock was evident, a mixture of disbelief and awe. How could this boy, a stranger, know such intimate details about their lives? The name Amelia echoed in their minds, a name they had not yet spoken aloud but had secretly cherished. They hadn't even known the gender yet. The ultrasound appointment was scheduled for next week. The boy's words left them reeling, questioning the boundaries of reality and the nature of fate. Was this a mere coincidence, or was there something more at play? He pointed to a man in a business suit, his face etched with stress lines. The man had been pacing back and forth, his mind preoccupied with the weight of his responsibilities. The boy's fingers seemed to freeze him in place, his eyes widening in surprise and apprehension. "You'll get the promotion, Mr. Davies," the boy said. The words hung in the air, a promise and a warning all at once. Mr. Davies felt a surge of hope, mingled with a creeping sense of dread. Promotions were supposed to be good news, but coming from this boy it felt like a double-edged sword, but it comes at a price. The boy's eyes darkened, his expression turning ominous. The crowd held its breath, the weight of his words sinking in. What kind of price, they wondered? What could be so valuable that it would overshadow the joy of a promotion? Be careful what you wish for. The warning was clear, a stark reminder that every gain comes with its own set of challenges and sacrifices. The atmosphere grew heavy, the foreboding mood settling over the crowd like a dark cloud. Mr. Davies went pale, his briefcase slipping from his grasp. The reality of the boy's words hit him like a ton of bricks. He had been so focused on climbing the corporate ladder that he hadn't considered the potential costs. Now, faced with the boy's eerie prediction, he couldn't help but feel a deep sense of unease. The whispers of tomorrow had become a chilling reality. Section 5, The Shopkeeper's Secret. A hush fell as a woman pushed her way through the crowd. She moved with purpose, her eyes scanning the bustling mall. People instinctively stepped aside, sensing her urgency. She was heading towards a small, almost hidden corner of the mall, where a quaint bookshop stood. She owned a small bookshop in the mall, tucked away in a quiet corner. The shop was a haven for book lovers, filled with the scent of old pages and the soft murmur of whispered stories. It was a place where time seemed to slow down, offering a respite from the chaos outside. She had kind eyes and a warm smile. Her presence was comforting, like a favorite storybook character come to life. She greeted every customer with genuine warmth, making them feel like they were the most important person in the world. "Hello, love," she said, her voice soft. "Do you remember me?" Her tone was gentle, filled with a mix of hope and uncertainty. She had seen many faces over the years, but this boy's face stirred something deep within her. The boy looked at her, his brow furrowed in thought. He seemed to be searching his memory, trying to place her face. There was a flicker of something in his eyes, a distant memory trying to resurface. A flicker of recognition crossed his face. "The books," he whispered. His voice was barely audible, but it was enough. The connection was made. He remembered the stories, the warmth of her voice, the comfort of the bookshop. "You read them to me." The shopkeeper gasped. It was true. She had read to him, many years ago when he was just a little boy. The memories came flooding back, each one more vivid than the last. Years ago, before her shop became popular, she used to read to him. He would sit in the corner, eyes wide with wonder as she brought stories to life. Those were simpler times, filled with the magic of books and the innocence of childhood. But there was one problem. A nagging doubt that gnawed at her. How could this be? The boy standing before her looked no older than 7, yet the memories were from over a decade ago. This boy, he looked no older than 7. His youthful face and innocent eyes didn't match the timeline. It was as if time had stood still for him, while the world around him had moved on. And she hadn't seen him in at least 10 years. The realization hit her hard. How was it possible? She looked at him thoughtfully, trying to piece together the mystery. The answers were elusive, but one thing was clear: this was no ordinary reunion. Section 6. Panic and Paranoia. The atmosphere in the mall shifted. Fear gave way to suspicion, then outright paranoia. Was this some kind of elaborate hoax, a social experiment, or something far stranger? The boy, oblivious to the tension, continued his pronouncements. He told a teenage girl she'd win a scholarship, a young man he'd meet the love of his life on a trip to Paris. Each revelation, though delivered with childlike innocence, felt heavy with an unknown significance. It was as if he wasn't just predicting the future, but weaving it with every word. Section 7. A glimmer in his eye. Then as quickly as it began, it stopped. The boy went silent, his gaze turning inward. He looked at his hands, his expression unreadable. A shiver ran down Mike's spine. The boy's eyes, those stormy blue eyes, they seemed different now. Older, wiser. He looked up at the crowd, a small smile playing on his lips. "Don't be afraid," he said, his voice echoing strangely in the sudden silence. "It's not the future you should fear, but the past." And with that he turned and walked towards the exit, his small frame disappearing into the throng of shoppers. Section 8. Vanishing Act. For a moment no one moved. The silence stretched, thick and heavy. Then, chaos erupted. People surged towards the exit, desperate to catch another glimpse of the boy, to demand answers. But he was gone, vanished, as if he had never been there at all. Mike stood there, staring at the spot where the boy had been, a cold knot of unease forming in his stomach. He couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't the end, it was just the beginning. Section 9. The search begins. The Trafford Center, once a haven of consumerism, was now shrouded in an unsettling mystery. The boy's words echoed in the air, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions. Who was he? Where did he come from? And how did he know so much? The search for the mysterious child who knew the future had begun. And one thing was certain: life for those who had encountered him would never be the same.